Hello guys, welcome to this video. So in this video I will show you a very famous program which is asked inside interview or competitive programming, which is called as Factorial program. Inside Python I will show you both the techniques using a for loop or the technique of recursion, or calling the same function again and again to calculate the factorial of a number. So factorial is a basically we calculate factorial. If you want to calculate factorial of 5, we say 5 multiplied 4 multiplied 3 multiplied 2 multiplied 1. So this is the concept of factorial. So this is I will show both the uh, codes here for loop. So let's suppose I show you first of all the for loop. So I'm just using this website pythontutor.com, which actually shows the real-time execution of the program. So this is a great tool where you can visualize the source code, how it is executed. So let me first of all write the program. So we declare a function factorial iterative, and inside this we will receive an argument of n. So we declared this function. So as you can see, we are receiving this number as an argument. So now to calculate the factorial, we need a variable of result. I will initialize this variable to 1, and then we will put a for loop which will run from 1 up till n. So for this, in Python, what this works is, it will, if the value of n is 5, so it will run from 1 to 5. So this is how which, so the initial value of I is equal to 1, and if the value of n is, let's suppose, 5, so it will stop at 5 itself. So this value is not it is not included, so it will run up till 1 to 5. So I will explain you when I visualize this program using this tool. So now in the factorial program, we simply multiply the number. So we simply say result multiplied by whatever is the value of I, and then lastly we return the result. That's all. And now we simply first of all take the number from the, using the integer, we typecast it. We use the input function to receive the value. So here we will simply ask the user to enter a number. So here the user will enter the number, and then we will print out, we will call this function and just display the result. So we are calling this function. So if I execute, click this button of visualize execution. So now step by step, just see how the code is executing. So if I show you, first of all, this function is registered in the global frame. This is your function, and then here it actually asks enter a number. So I will enter 5 here and click on submit. So now the initial value of number is 5. So now this value is passed here. If I go to the next step, so this function is defined using this n value is 5 here. If you see, n value is 5. And now if I go to the next step, so it basically initializes result to 1. So as you can see, result is equal to 1. And then in the next step, we initialize this for loop. As you can see, the initial value of I is set to 1. So the initial value of I is equal to 1. And then we multiply whatever is the result. Variable was 1. So 1 multiplied by 1 comes out to be 1. So we come to the next iteration when I becomes 2. So now the I value will become 2. So 2 multiplied by 1, because result is equal to 1, so which will be, comes out to be 2. So as you can see, now I becomes 2 here. So 2 multiplied by 1, so result also becomes 2. So as you can see, and now we come to the next step. Now I becomes 3. So in the next iteration I becomes 3. So 3 multiplied by 2, so this will become 6. So as you can see, now the result value becomes 6. So now in the next iteration, I will be incremented furthermore. I will become 4. So 4 multiplied by 6 comes out to be 24. So as you can see, now I become 5. The next iteration, again we multiplied 5 multiplied by 24 this time. So it comes out to be 120. And now I become 6. So 6 is not included here. So as soon as the program hits this, the for loop will break, and now we will come to this step, return result. So now we come to this, and now your return value is 120, and that's all. After that we print out this in the next step. So now the program ends, we display the factorial, comes out to be 120. So this is a very easy program. In this we use the for loop very easily. And now I will be showing you the second approach by which you can achieve it, the concept of recursion. Recursion is the way by which we actually call the same function again and again. So let's suppose I define this function here. So this is your recursive function, and here we will put a AND condition as well, because in recursive function you do need to put this condition, because if you don't put this condition, the program will run endless number of time. So we do need to put this condition that if n becomes 0 or if n becomes 1, in either of these cases we need to return a 1 and just end this. But up till now, if n is not equal to 0 or 1, in that case we need to multiply n multiplied by, and then we need to call the same function again here, and this time n minus 1. So we are following the same technique here. If you want to calculate the factorial of 5, so we simply say 5 multiplied by, again we call the same function, so 5 minus 4. So like this. So 5 4 multiplied by 3. So this is the same technique that we are using. And again, let me show you how it executes step by step. So again, we simply take the user input using the input function, and then we print out the factorial. So now if I click the visualize execution, so now what happens right here, if you see, first of all, the function is registered in the global frame here. The function is registered. Now we need to say, again, if I print out number here, we need to submit. So now the function is initialized here. You can see factorial num is 5. If I go to the next step, the function is registered with n is equal to 5, and then I come to the next step, this if condition. So the n value is 5 here, so it is not equal to 0, so this will fail here. And then we come to this step, so 5 multiplied by, and this value will be 4, 5 minus 1. So now the n value becomes 4 here, as you can see. So this stays here, so 5 multiplied by, and we are again calling the same function, but this time it is 4. And then we come to this, again this condition will fail, and now n value is 4. So 4 multiplied by, again we call the same function. Now the value will become 3. You can see that. Again we come, same condition hits. Now it will become 2, as you can see. So these are recursive functions, guys. As you can see, these are recursive functions, and we are waiting for the condition when n becomes 1. So now again we check, n is not equal to 1, so we again come, and this time n will become 1. So now this condition is now met here, and now again if I check for this condition, so now n has become 1. So in this case the condition will evaluate to true, and now we will be returning 1. So now what happens if I click next again, so this return 1 statement will execute, and now your return value is there. So now return values come, So 1 multiplied by, again we need to execute the previous recursive functions which were not executed. So 1 multiplied by 2, so this will comes out to be return value 2. So this is happening internally as the condition has met now. So now this return value has, this function is executed. Now this return value will transfer to the next recursive function. So 2 multiplied by 3 comes out to be 6. So as you can see, so now 6 multiplied by 4 comes out to be 24. So as you can see, now 24 multiplied by 5, which is 120, at last recursive function. That's all. So this is your return value, and if I click next, and now your factorial has been printed out. So both these approaches, guys, I showed you for loop and recursion. I personally like this program, which is recursion, because it's short, concise, and also it is following the concept of recursion, which is a good programming concept in which you execute the same function again and again to basically break the problem into multiple parts and then execute this. So these are the two programs which are asked specifically in interviews whenever you go for interview or competitive programming. And thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Also check out my website freemediatools.com, which contains thousands of tools.